Hello, hello. So today I want to try something. I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. As you know, first of all, welcome back. Happy to have you here. So I'm sitting on my patio, yay. And recently we made one new garden bed bordering my patio. Absolutely gorgeous. But I have leftover mulch, so I want to start making another garden bed with that versus having it just piled up in my lawn. Naturally, we're gonna get going on what we have planned here. So I have my garden plan, and I recently just kind of redrew it a little bit, made a couple small changes just because of the way that the excavation was done, that I wasn't initially planning on it being like that. So I smushed things around a little bit, but I'll show you what I have here. So I know this is always hard for people to understand what's going on here. So this is the back of the house, and this is the patio that we're on right now. This is the garden bed that we just made. All of this stuff back here is the woods, and then this is the creek. And then this area over here is basically this whole area over here. All of this area. And then up here, which is a little addition of higher ground, that's going to be this whole area back here. These are the three rocks, and then this is the rock wall next to the woods. So that higher ground area back there, I wasn't really expecting it to be as open as it is. Just because that's where some of the dirt was pushed when Mark was excavating, and the rock wall, I didn't really know that that was going to exist before Mark did the excavating either, which I love it, but both of those things I love. I just wasn't planning for it initially when I was making my drawings. So what is so fun about that area over there is that it's going to be kind of hidden from the rest of the garden. So basically, this whole area here is what I call the formal garden. Not that it's actually going to be necessarily that formal, it's just the shapes of it. I mean, the garden beds are still going to be filled with plants in a cottagey kind of full garden look. But the shape of this, having this thing is kind of formal. That's why I call it the formal garden. But inside of each of these are going to be little hedged beds, and inside is going to be like a big rose bush in each of those. And then this is going to have a tree. A big statement tree in the middle of the garden. So anyway, these are going to be trees that are going to be lining both sides of the garden. But what's fun is that this is going to be a little walkway to get to this back garden here, this upper garden. It's actually going to be, I think, like steps up with stones because it's quite a bit higher up here than down here. But I'm really excited for this garden area because we can take a walk over there, but it's higher, it's kind of separate. And I think that it's really fun that you won't be able to see it really once the trees are actually grown. You're not going to be able to see it. So it's going to be its own little garden room that is completely enclosed. I mean, you'll be able to see it from some places, but I was thinking about even when you're on the patio, you'll be able to see probably the end of this, but you won't be able to actually see how to get to it. It's just going to be like something that you see, but you don't know how to get to it. And I was thinking, because I was standing up there the other day when I was measuring out things, and I was looking and I was like, oh my goodness, I've never really stood up here very much, but it's absolutely lovely. Like, it's an overlook of the whole forest area. So basically right here, I want to put a bench looking down, and you can see the creek and you can see the forest area, but imagine too if it was all beautiful gardens and pathways. I mean, even more beautiful to look down. And I think it's kind of cool. You can see the patio can probably see you, but it's that, you know, interesting secret kind of thing of how did you even get there? Did you climb up the rock wall? No, of course not. There's a secret pathway over here. So this whole area is going to be its own thing. I haven't completely planned it out, only other than to know that there's going to be a line of trees here. And then in between those two trees in front of the rocks is where I'll have probably bigger rocks actually in the dirt, kind of as a steps with bigger stones. Not steps as formal as that, but right within the dirt, like a flat rock and then a flat rock, you know, steps up like that. So I'm already making a list of things that I want Mark to do when he comes back next spring, so I can hopefully get everything done like I want. I don't know if you can see the grade of it in the camera as much, but that's what I'm talking about. Then this area here is where my quote-unquote formal garden is going to be, which I'm very excited about. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. What I wanted to do today, because the first bed that I think I'm going to make is going to be this one here, from behind the shed over to the driveway. It's actually going to go a little bit into the driveway, so it'll be even less of a smaller of an entrance to the garden, because I like the idea of, same as up there, just kind of giving some mystery to it, you know, so you don't see it all from the road. There's like an entryway, and then it's like, wow, I'm in a beautiful garden now. I'm not sure how far. It's kind of like there's two separate gardens. There's this one going across here, and then there's this one going up here. So these are going to be bigger trees. I'm thinking maybe Blue Point junipers or something like that. So they are a little bit bigger, maybe 6 feet wide, and go up to 10 or 12 feet tall. And then here, I don't have all my plants written in right now, but these are going to go back and forth between a red twig dogwood and a smaller Christmas tree shaped thing. As of now, I'm thinking a Green Mountain boxwood. So it's going to be like a more of a cone shape and then more of a lower bush shape back and forth. And those are going to be lower than the ones on the perpendicular to it garden. But the garden that I want to start now with this with this, the bed that I want to start with the pile of wood chips is this one that's going to go perpendicular to the shed here, or line up with the back of it. So it's going to go like that. So honestly, I'm kind of thinking it might make sense to fill in this whole thing, so that obviously it doesn't make sense to have a little line of grass around. So I feel like what would make the most sense would be to fill in the whole area with a garden, and maybe have some sort of a walkway through it, whether it's stones on top of the mulch or what, but something that kind of still maybe goes around, just because that's a pretty big area. I showed them on my last video, but how gorgeous are these hollyhocks? Unfortunately, it looks like something is eating them, but the flowers are absolutely stunning. So, long story short, long intro short, what I want to do today is spray paint with the special, grass spray paint I got exactly where the gardens are going to be, according to my picture, so that I can make sure that I like it before I actually do it. Because we're at the point now where we're actually going to start making the first bed, which is so exciting. But I want to make sure my dimensions are right. It looks good on paper, but I feel like this is the easiest way to just check it out a little bit before I make any big changes, and make sure that it looks like what I want it to look like. So that is the plan for right now. I'm going to start measuring, start spraying, and we'll see what we come up with. Okay guys, I'm taking the really lazy way out today because I feel like in order to properly do that area, I would need to weed eat it, which I don't really feel like doing. I'm just kind of letting it go. But I hope you can see what I did. So obviously there are wood chips in the way, but these are going to be the gardens, which are nice little skinny ones that I said we're going to have the Green Mountain boxwood and then the red twig dogwood potentially. I love that because that will be so pretty in the winter with because the green, the boxwood will stay green, and the red twigged dogwood, I think that's what it's called, looks so nice with the bright red twigs in the winter. That'll be so just wintry and Christmassy and fun. Basically, I also did not do a good job as you saw, but like general idea, you're gonna walk in through those gardens and then hopefully you can kind of see these. There's gonna be the 4 little beds that you can walk through. So they're going to be lined with boxwood, so the actual inside will be smaller, with one big bush probably. So you can walk through, and then this is where there's going to be a tree that's going to be in the middle, and then there's going to be 2 more mirrored kind of beds like that. And this is going to be helpful for me because I'm going to walk around in it for a little while, you know, in the next few days, and just see if the beds and everything feels like the right size, because it's just easier to make changes from this versus actually making the beds and then being like, you know what, this is not right, or there's not enough room or too much room. I think I measured something slightly off. I'm going to remeasure everything because the way that I had planned it was that my tractor should be able to drive through all of the spaces, and I kind of think that something's not quite right. Also, it's very hard to measure, so I'm going to have to somehow do a really good job when I'm actually doing it, because this was not working out that great. But for me, this is really helpful to see like where the beds start and how deep they're going to be, especially with this area here, and just to feel how big this garden, the formal garden, how big it's actually going to be is really interesting and good. So I'm going to keep playing around with it, walking through it, maybe drive my tractor through it and see if it is actually the size that I want it to be. Hopefully soon, hopefully this week even, we'll start laying this bed here with the extra chips. Hello friends! So today I'm going to try something. Try being the operative word. And as always, keep in mind that this is not a how-to video. This is me trying it for the first time. But I have these boxwoods. I have 5 wintergreen boxwoods in my gardens. And so what I want to attempt to do is take a few cuttings and attempt to try to propagate them, because I've heard that they're really quite easy to propagate. So that's kind of my goal. From my research, they've said that they're really easy to propagate, but it's only like 50% success rate. So I figured I might as well start this year, and then in theory, like every year, take more cuttings and keep trying to make more boxwoods, because in order to do the arrangement that we just made yesterday, all of these little squares that are inside of the formal garden are all going to be lined with boxwood, little boxwood hedges. That is my goal, at least, which I absolutely adore the thought of that. But that means so what I calculated was like 90 boxwoods, which is insane. And that's going to cost a lot for 90 boxwoods. So I figure any amount that I can make from what I have will be a huge help. So we're going to try. I'll try this year, and then I'll try again next year, and I'll just keep making them. And hopefully, the nice thing about, doing everything in phases is that I'm not going to even have those gardens made according to my plan for like a couple more years. So maybe by the time that I actually make them, I'll have boxwoods that are large enough to actually start the hedging. And of course, you don't have to do all of the gardens at once either. So we'll see. I mean, there's a good chance I'll end up having to buy some, but any amount that I can make from what I have is a win. So I'm going to attempt it. I'm going to make a special soil mix from my research, and then I have like a rooting hormone to stick the cuttings in, and then I'll just put them in the dirt and see how they grow. So I have equal parts kind of sand and potting soil in here. And the sand is wet because it was just like leftover sand from my patio that's in my wagon, and I don't know. So, and I'm going to add equal parts perlite, improves drainage and aeration in potting mixes. I got this all from the internet, from multiple different sources on how to propagate boxwood. Whoa, kind of looks like packing peanuts. So I think I probably made way too much, but I'm going to mix this all up, and we'll see how it all goes. I feel like I need an immersion blender here. So the good thing is they say that this is the perfect time of year to do this, because it's taking like the new growth off of the boxwood. The unfortunate thing for me, which is probably not the best, but I'm going to do it anyway, is that it's probably not the best to do it right after you planted the boxwood, because they're working on growing the roots and stuff. But I'm going to do it anyway and hope for the best. Moisten it a little bit. Okay, so let me show you these really cool little things I got for them. These are like mini greenhouse pots. So they're just like these little pots, which do seem like a little bit flimsy, but I think they'll be a-okay for this. And then they have little hats that turn them into miniature greenhouses. How great is that? And then also, because it's clear, you can kind of see if the roots are growing a little bit. So I love that. I'm gonna fill up a bunch of these. And they have holes on the bottom and they have holes on the top. So I'm gonna fill up a bunch of these, and you can put actually multiple, like I could probably put 5 cuttings in each of these. So that'll be good. I think I made way too much dirt, but that is okay because I can save it for next year. I really hope that this works, at least, you know, for some of them. I'm thinking that it'll be 2 to 3 years before they're like the size of, that would normally be in like a gallon container. But I think that from the video I was watching, depending on how they actually grow, I kind of think that it's going to rain again. But no, I kind of think that I could potentially plant ones that I'm doing now, potentially could be planted like next fall. They'd be really small. But, you know, that's something. That's not terrible. And then, ooh-wee, I think it's going to rain. I thought the rain was going to be done by now, but apparently not. Let's take this under the porch. But I should go get my cuttings maybe before it rains, or I should wait until the rain is done. I really like the consistency of this. It's very fluffy. I've never used perlite before. Okay, I'm going to attempt this before I get too wet. So, like I said before, this is my first time doing it and I don't know what I'm doing. But I do know what I'm doing from research, but just don't take my word for it too strongly. So I'm taking 4 to 6 inch cuttings in the semi-hardwood, which is like the new green growth is what I'm taking. But just like not the very youngest part, but the middle part, not the super woody part. So that's what I'm just going to do. And I'm cutting it just below a leaf node. My first boxwood to be. So I'm going to take as much as seems good. Hopefully we'll get quite a few babies growing. Without going too crazy. So as you can see, I did plant these ones in the front garden. They look super cute. I planted them just like around the plants that were here. And the furthest one is completely like on all sides enclosed in autumn joy sedum, but I decided to just do it like that, and basically in the fall, as I was always planning on doing it, I'm gonna move these plants around a bit. But right now, at least it's in the ground, even if it's being hugged on all sides by autumn joy sedum. Okay, you guys keep falling over. Obviously, this is not the ideal weather for this. I didn't realize it was going to be so windy today, but whatever. Look at all the cuttings that I got from one itty bitty plant. I hope that mama plant is okay with this, but look at that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These are really short. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So potentially, even if there's a 50% success rate, then that from that one plant is 10 new boxwoods that I could get in 2 to 3 years. So we'll see. Hopefully it does actually go that well. But so if I have 10 there, if I get this many from 5 of my plants that I have, then that could potentially be 50 boxwoods that I could make, which is crazy, super cool. We'll see how it goes, of course, but that's why you gotta stick with me for the long haul. But I'm gonna take off the lower leaves here and cut off these little branch outs that are coming. Just gonna leave the top one here. So, actually, I should get a little cup of water because I'm gonna stick it in the water and then in the rooting hormone, and then we'll just kind of put it right in the thing. So let me go do that. I just think that this is like so cool that this is even a thing, and that, you know, plants grow roots and you can make more and more and more. It's really cool. And by the way, I did check to make sure that there is not a patent on these plants before I propagated them. So I'm just sticking them in the rooting hormone and then putting it in the dirt. Oops. I think like for this one that the spreadage is up high. I think I'm going to leave that, and it might be just like a little bit more of a, you know, starting place for it. So maybe I'll do 5 per container. And then after, I think probably by, you know, the fall, I can check back in with you guys and we'll see if which ones have roots. And then probably I will take the ones that are rooted and put them into their own, you know, little container, and they can grow from there. I might take this one off. I don't want it to have to work more than, like, I want its main job to be to grow the roots and not to worry about its top stuff. So here's my little guy, and I'm going to keep them consistently moist in a bright, indirect place. I think I might keep them on the porch because they should get light on here, but not, you know, actual direct sunlight. And then we can put their little things on, little humidity domes, and they'll be even more, they're so cute. You know, their own little ecosystem in there, or however that goes. So, yay, one done. I might need more dirt than I expected. That's good. I can't believe how many cuttings. Now, some of them might have been like too small or whatever, but you never know which ones will go. But I can't believe how many cuttings I got from one little plant, and that plant didn't even look any different, you know? So that's really cool. In theory, my goal is just to keep doing this every year, have new ones being made, and then I can always have, you know, what I need eventually. And I'm hoping that they won't be too high maintenance, you know. Just keep them consistently moist but not too wet, and that'll be great. I'm not 100, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do over the winter. I've seen different options. Whether that's in some sort of a little greenhouse situation DIY greenhouse, or like a box with a window over it or something like that outside. Or I might bring them inside, which is not a big deal either. Okay, grow babies grow. I really like these little pots. I got them on Amazon. I can put a link to them. They're just super cute, and I really like that you can see the root action also. As I'm saying that, it doesn't work, but I feel like the caps fit on pretty well. I'll also link the rooting powder that I'm using. It's called Hormix. I got it on Amazon also. Maybe you should wait, until the fall and see if they actually root before you buy it, but, we'll see. This one's not sticking on very well, is it? It's just good for each other. Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20 baby box is growing. These are definitely shorter, I think, than 4 to 6 inches. But we'll see how they go. You never know. Something about this particular top is... I planted it in the top. Shucks. Okay. Oh. Shucks, shucks, shucks. That's why it's not working. Okay, great job. Be strong, baby boxwoods. Sorry for the intense movement. Okay, hopefully that'll be okay. Now the cover should fit. Yeah, okay. Be safe. So we have 20 baby boxwoods growing from one single plant. This is wildly exciting. I cannot wait to see them hopefully flourish. So I'm gonna go do this 4 more times. Actually, 5 more times. I think I'm gonna do it with my Green Mountain boxwood also. 5 more times, and we'll meet back in a moment. I have all of my cuttings, but before I forget, I wanted to tell you, in case you happen to be just going and doing this after watching my video without watching somebody who actually knows anything's video, which I never recommend, but I'll try to remember to tell you the things that are important, which is to make sure you get it from a healthy plant, make sure the plant's not patented, make sure you use clean clippers so you're not making any bringing diseases over. I'm sure there are more things, so I'm just going to recommend watching somebody's video who knows what they're talking about. But I also wanted to say, because last time we talked about this, I was thinking about doing inkberry holly. And the moral of the story is, the more that I think that research is really good and really important, and I'm very glad for all the research that I've done. But sometimes I think you over-research things, and then it's like, you just have too much information in your head and you can't make any decision because you just are overwhelmed with information, and it's like, okay, but this kind might not work best because of this, and this kind might not work best because of this, and this is the kind that will probably work the best in my area, but oh wait, it's like not available anywhere. And it's just like too much information. So in the end, I was just like, you know what, kind of meet myself halfway and just do what's available, what should do fine. Maybe it's not the very best. Maybe this one is slightly better for cold resistant. Maybe this one is blah, blah, blah. But in the end, you just kind of have to make a decision, or else you just think way too much and never do anything. So that's why I'm doing this with the wintergreen boxwood. If they work terribly, then, well, I just bought the 5 plants, and I'll see how they last over this winter. And, sometimes you just have to, do it and make a mistake and learn that way. And I didn't find any inkberry holly at any stores around here. Okay guys, so here is the propagation station. I have 85, actually 87 boxwood cuttings. So we will check back in the fall and see how many made roots, and then we will graduate them from their baby pots to something bigger and better for the winter. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that some of them will work and that we can actually start to make this hedge with boxwoods that we propagated ourselves. Like, how cool is that? Super cool, and also saves so much money, so that is wonderful. I'm really pumped for the whole garden, and it was so helpful to see with the spray paint just kind of the area that it's going to be in. I keep looking at it and looking at it from different angles and be like, okay, so that's where the garden's going to look like from the living room, you know, that's where this garden is going to be. And it's just really helpful to see it in spray paint. So I highly recommend that if you are doing garden design plans like that. So Boris and I thank you for watching this video. Really exciting stuff in my humble opinion. Stay tuned, we're going to be starting to make some of the gardens very soon on a video near you, getting rid of the big pile of the mulch. So big things happening here at the house. I can never get over just how good everything is looking. This summer, the transformation has been crazy outside. It's so beautiful, and we have a lot more work to do. So I'll see you guys next time on A Drill and a Dream. Have a wonderful day.